25th of Kislev, in the year 167 BCE, the people of Jerusalem awoke to a shocking reality. A sacrifice to the Greek god Zeus has been offered on the altar of God in the Holy Temple. The commandments of the Torah were outlawed, and the Jewish faith faced an existential threat unlike any it had known before. Behind the repressive campaign stood a ruthless, domineering Hellenistic king, a champion of Greek culture, Antiochus IV Epiphanes. The conquest of the Persian Empire by Alexander the Great, founder of the Hellenistic Empire, brought about a transformation that swept throughout the Eastern world. Hellenism flourished. Throughout the empire, Greek-style cities, polis, emerged, just like in Greece itself. In the polis, the people learned to speak, think, and act like Greeks. It started in the gymnasium, where Greek music, literature, and philosophy were studied. Most of the class time was devoted to the subject that Greeks valued above all others, developing and strengthening the body. Youths demonstrated their skills in the stadium, which were adorned with statues of the gods, and due to the Greeks' veneration of the human body, they competed in the nude. Hellenism also reached far-off Judea, where it was welcomed enthusiastically by the upper class. The Jerusalem aristocracy, priests, and eminent members of distinguished families were quick to adopt the Greek language, names, and customs. But not everyone was swept away by the tide. The public nudity, obsession with the human body, and idol worship that appeared everywhere offended Jewish values of morality, modesty, and belief in one God. Alexander and the kings who succeeded him practiced tolerance and did not force Hellenistic practices on the Jews. Then King Antiochus arrived and changed all the rules of the game. From a young age, Antiochus stood out as a brash and reckless individual. Behind his back, he was mocked by his peers, who referred to him as Epimanes, the madman. While in Athens, he was seized by a passion for Greek culture and especially for Zeus, the Greeks' chief god.
אנטיוכוס הרביעי העריץ את זהוס כל כך עד שהוא אימץ לעצמו את השם תאוס אפיפנס, האל המתגלה. הוא ממש ראה את עצמו כהתגלמות דמותו של זהוס, ואנחנו רואים את זה באופן ברור על המטבע, עם הכתובות המלך אנטיוכוס ובצד שני האל המתגלה.
Enthralled by Greek culture, Antiochus left Athens, and in 175 BCE, he arrived in Antioch, the capital of the Seleucid Empire, to claim the throne. The kingdom that Antiochus inherited was enormous, but on the brink of financial ruin. Antiochus's desperate need for money inspired the Hellenists in Jerusalem, headed by the priest Jason. With the help of a huge bribe, Jason convinced Antiochus to appoint him high priest and turn Jerusalem into a Greek polis. Jerusalem changed at a dizzying pace. Within the city walls, a gymnasium, a stadium, and the other institutions of the polis were built. Young upper-class priests abandoned their duties in the temple to join in the sports competitions in the nude. Some even had surgery to hide their circumcision. The next high priest, Menelaus, an even more fanatic Hellenist and corrupt to the core, even became Antiochus's accomplice in plundering the temple treasury. And then, in 168 BCE, a rumor spread that Antiochus had been defeated and killed in battle against Egypt. The people of Jerusalem rejoiced. Many saw this as an opportunity to depose the tyrant Menelaus and rose up to fight him. But the rumors of the king's death were premature. Antiochus, humiliated by the failed campaign but unquestionably alive, was furious. He slaughtered the rebels, but did not stop there. He charged into the temple and stripped it of its treasures. The golden table, the incense altar, and thousands of silver and gold items were dumped into sacks of booty. The Greek historian Diodorus Siculus recounts that Antiochus ordered the menorah, which had burned continuously in the temple, extinguished, and then he took it as well. Most humiliating of all was when Antiochus ordered a statue of the god Zeus erected in the heart of the temple. In an unprecedented step, Antiochus imposed a total ban on Jewish laws and customs. Torah scrolls were burned. Armed soldiers went around forcing the Jews to eat forbidden foods, desecrate the Sabbath and festivals, and offer sacrifices to Greek gods. The temple itself became a center of pagan promiscuity and debauchery. Many refused to obey the decrees and heroically stood up to the Seleucid troops. They paid a terrible price. Mothers who circumcised their sons were slaughtered together with their children. Young people who refused to bow down to idols were brutally tortured and killed before their parents' eyes. But there were some Jews who refused to go quietly to their death. They chose to fight the forces of evil that had risen up against their people and their faith, and if die they must while attacking the enemy and striving for freedom. The opening salvo was fired in the town of Modin in the Judean lowlands, where a Seleucid official had come to enforce the decrees. The official ordered Mattathias the Hasmonean, a local priest and dignitary, to engage in an act of idolatry, setting an example for the people. But Mattathias rose up and killed the official and the Hellenist Jew who was collaborating with him. With sword drawn, Mattathias called on his Jewish brethren to take their fate into their hands, to put their faith in the God of Israel, and to fight the army of the oppressors. He entrusted the actual fighting to his sons, Johanan, Eleazar, Simon, Jonathan, and their leader, Judah, known as the Maccabee, i.e. the sledgehammer. People from all parts of society came to join Judah, but from the very first moment it was clear that the few inexperienced volunteers had no chance of defeating the huge, professional Seleucid army. Antiochus had tens of thousands of trained soldiers, thousands of horsemen, and dozens of war elephants. The Greek phalanx formation, in which the troops were arranged like a giant porcupine, their long lances pointed forward, was terrifying and impenetrable. Against this physical might, Judah presented his own vision. They trust in their great numbers and vast army, but we fight for our lives and our Torah. Behold, God will crush them before our eyes. The tactic that Judah chose to compensate for his lack of fighters was guerrilla warfare, based on superb knowledge of the terrain, swift maneuvers, and the element of surprise. The Maccabees made good use of the hilly terrain. In the narrow mountain passes and steep inclines, where the cumbersome phalanx formation was useless, they devastated the enemy troops. In a series of brilliant battles, Judah defeated the local forces sent against him and even the royal army that came from Antioch. His victories on the battlefield earned Judah Maccabee the admiration of military commanders around the world. At the prestigious U.S. Military Academy at West Point, a statue of Judah is on display along with statues of other great military leaders, such as Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, and Napoleon Bonaparte. But never for a moment did Judah forget what he was truly fighting for. After 3 years of war, on the 25th of Kislev, 164 BCE, the same date on which Antiochus had desecrated the temple, Judah rushed onto the Temple Mount and purified the temple. The menorah that the Maccabees lit and the miracle of the small jar of oil that sufficed for 8 days became symbolic of the triumph of the Jewish spirit over the forces of evil. A tiny light that broke through the vast darkness, a light that would shine in Jewish homes on Hanukkah for millennia, becoming the emblem of the state of Israel and a source of inspiration for generations.